So, hi everybody. We are the people writers from Metal Temple, and this new show is called Open the Pits with Metal Temple. We have a few of our writers on today. If you want to introduce yourselves, who wants to go first?
Oh, go on. I'll go first. Hi, I'm Leanne. I'm the sane one of the Metal Temple family.
Yeah.
Sure. We believe you. We believe you.
Yeah.
I'm Andrew, aka Label Gimp. Are you pleased I wrote that in?
Yes, very happy. Next.
Hello. I'm Andrew, aka Label Gimp. Are you pleased I wrote that in?
Yes, very happy.
Well, again, I prefer something a bit more scholarly, like Metal Professor or something. But if majority of people want Label Gimp, I'm happy to defer to the democratic process.
There is nothing wrong with being called Label Gimp. I don't understand this aversion that you have to it.
It's just intellectual elitism, really. It's just because I feel like I should found an important sounding name or something.
And I am your host, John Foley, been a writer for Metal Temple for a year now. And this is our first show of the YouTube series. And we'll kick things off with some bits that have been in the news. Big announcement yesterday, if anyone noticed. What's yesterday or today? Mudvayne are reuniting for a series of festival dates in the States, if anyone's heard of that.
I did.
Yeah, they haven't been done anything in about 12 years now because their singer's been off doing Hell Yeah with Vinnie Paul from Pantera. But obviously he's sadly passed away, so he's obviously looking to do another project together. So he's going back to that. And there's also been the very sad news of the drummer for Exodus who got diagnosed with cancer at the start of the week and has started his therapy. So we always hope he gets better soon. There's also a new single dropped from Fear Factory. Anyone's heard that yet?
Yes, I played that on my radio show on Saturday. It's a banging tune. It's really good.
Yeah, that main riff has a really cool groove to it. So that was like right from the start, you get that real groove there going. Other than just the mindless industrial rhythms that they used to do on their old stuff. Which would be a weird album now because they recorded it with their singer Burton C. Bell before he left the band. And there's lots of drama going on there if you hear the news. Just lots of bickering. Also in the news we have as well, Emperor are doing a live stream on May 23rd. That'll be on their social medias if you want to check that out. And Paradise Lost have announced a UK tour for starting in February 2022. All dates are on their social medias if people want to check that out. And with all that out of the way, let's get to our first topic. And since we've all been in this pandemic for the past year, obviously gigs haven't happened. Us being metal fans, we need our fucking gigs. We do. Yeah, we do. So I thought we could have a fun chat if you all want to talk about, reminisce about gigs you've been to in the past, if you all want to talk about that, or even gigs that we have up and coming that we're hoping don't get cancelled and we get to go. So if you want to maybe start everybody with the last gig they were at. So who wants to go first with that one?
Well, that was easy.
I think Label Gimp should go first.
Yeah, why not?
I think the elitist one of us all, I'm quite curious to know what Label Gimp went to.
Yeah, the big happy head and we want to hear what he has to say.
Well, I mean, technically, the last concert I went to was a classical concert, but presumably that's of no interest in this particular.
How did we get that?
La-di-da-di-da. I should be the one with the wine, right? No, the last metal gig I was at, this is a while ago now. This was, this is a place in Glasgow. So we had, I think, somebody open. I can't remember who it was. Then we had Napalm Death
Nice.
and Carcass. Carcass was the
Always
main one,
good.
so that was it was fucking brilliant.
Marcus.
Oh man, one of my all-time favorites. It was brilliant. It was so good.
Right, which one of their tracks was the one that shone the most for you that they played?
Well, because I kind of discovered their most recent album. I heard the single "Unfit for Human Consumption," and I kind of heard it, and I thought, oh, this is weird. Is that like yeah? I thought, is that like an old track? That sounds like a really old sort of track. But then I said, oh, it's a new one. I thought, oh my god, I kind of felt out of the loop for a long time, and then I thought, oh my god, these people are writing new songs. Why didn't anybody tell me of this? I guess it just sounded such a classic. It had such a classic Carcass feel to it. It fit in perfectly with the rest of their back catalogue. It's interesting how, despite how long they've been going and how long their sound has changed and evolved over time. They started out as kind of a gore grindy act, then they sort of became a death metal, and they kind of pioneered melodic death metal. How they've managed to stay relatively consistent, despite there's a few wobbles here and there. I mean, Swan Song was kind of a mixed bag. People have sort of mixed feelings about that, but I was so impressed by Surgical Steel, because it had that sort of classic, Heartwork era vibe about it, and that was, to hear that live and all the classics live was just fantastic. And I do love to entertain people with the really early stuff, with the Maggot Colony, or this, just because it's kind of vaguely entertaining and amusing. I would say, look at this one, look at this one. And they go, oh God, what is that?
I always love it when the
To be
bands
fair,
do their
Heartwork as an
sample.
album, it's just amazing. Like the highlight on that, apart from the title track for me, has definitely got to be Rock and Roll. Like that is just, do you know what? Throughout lockdown, listening to that, so I'm in my kitchen at the moment, and it's like a kind of long sort of galley kitchen, right? I have got all the space in the world. I still want to go and see live music, but I've got all the space in the world to literally chuck myself around. And I cannot tell you, just being able to do that to Rock and Roll, like literally, although I think it was the other day when I was windmilling to Slayer, and then I literally bounced my head off the fridge. That wasn't intentional, like literally just went for it, and then the fridge kind of got it. But no, Rock and Roll for me is like my favourite Carcass one. I think that's got some really good grooves in. It's pretty cool.
It's a great album.
And the new stuff fitted in well with the old stuff in the set, did it?
It meshed perfectly. I mean, it was again, when I heard Unfit for Human Consumption, I for a minute thought it was like an old B-side or something, because it just had that classic, Carcass sound, vis-a-vis Heartwork and all, the early stuff. I thought, wow, this is a natural continuation. They've gone back to that original sound, and it's just perfect, and it's matured nicely, and it still goes. They're still going. It's like all of these, old bands. It's so gratifying to see that they're still. I mean, they won't ever quit, because why would you? If you're having fun with it, why would you ever stop?
Exactly. That's what James Hetfield has always said. Like, Metallica will stop touring when it stopped doing fun for them, and they're still having films, but still fucking doing it. So, like, if they still have that passion for it, like, why stop?
Yeah,
Makes you wonder why bands like Slayer did stop touring when they have, and maybe
I think
maybe it
so.
wasn't anymore.
I think some of that had to do with Tom O'Reilly's health issues, because he's had back and neck surgery and all that from the crazy head swinging he used to do on stage and all that. I think physically for Tom O'Reilly, it was getting too much for him.
I think as well though, with Slayer, you look at their career and how far they've actually come, and how their sound has kind of very organically just progressed. I don't know if you can get to a point of being in a band and having such achievements like that, if you can actually get any better. And I think I actually personally respect them for having such a long-standing career and then almost bowing out at the right time, because sometimes when you have, bands that just keep going for it, particularly, God love everyone, age does come to us all, and we do all get older. Do think that sometimes, the talent, particularly with vocalists, it does actually, unfortunately, kind of go downhill a little bit as people get older. So I think personally they bowed out at exactly the right time. I think it was perfect.
better to bow out than to fade away, as you say.
Mhm.
Yeah,
Definitely.
exactly. I
I
can't
was
even
actually,
think.
I was fortunate enough to be on that. I went to see Slayer on that last tour as well in Dublin. And
Wow.
Jesus Christ, it was some fucking lineup. They opened with Obituary. That was the first band on. And then after that, it was Anthrax. After Anthrax, you had Lamb of God, and then Slayer came on after that. But it was unbelievable with the crowd there because Obituary came out, tore the place apart. After Obituary set, everybody emptied the venue out to the smoking area to have cigarettes. And then we're all out there having smokes. And then as soon as the opening, Anthrax opened up with playing Cowboys from Hell by Pantera. As soon as the opening notes of that hit, there was like a stampede from the smoking area trying to get back into the venue. It was unbelievable. And then after that, we had Lamb of God came on, and Lamb of God are fucking intense live. They put on a show. Like Randy Blythe has serious vocals on him. But the hilarious thing was, when he came out on stage, the guitar player, Willie, he tripped and fell on his arse, which was hilarious. Like you got up and laughed, you could see people laughing at him. He was laughing off on stage, and he got on with the rest of the set. But it was like, by the time Slayer came out, the crowd were knackered. They couldn't keep the motion going in time for Slayer because everyone was wrecked.
Yeah, I went to that same tour in Birmingham, and
Yeah.
yeah, you're right. Almost got their pacing wrong, didn't they, for everything?
Makes you think you have to hit the gym first before you go to a metal gigs and survive it.
Yeah, do you know what? It has to be said, with all of, like this break that we've had, are we going to be like lagging when it comes to actually, enjoying it and bouncing around? Or is it going to be like, the first time if you go to the gym or something, and then you end up walking like John Wayne, or just looking like you
Every muscle hurts coming on.
Is it just going to, I don't know, we're going to be walking like we've got piles or something the next day? I don't know.
Well, my mentality with a gig is like, if your neck isn't sore from headbanging so much, you didn't have a good time.
Yes, very much so. If you haven't actually got self-induced whiplash, you weren't even there.
Like, I'll wake up the next day and I think I have fucking whiplash. I need to see a chiropractor or something. My neck's in bits.
Yeah. Now, actually, gig-wise, Neil and I, we're going to be going to Powerwolf, all being well, in October.
Nice.
Which has just reminded me, Neil, I still actually need to send you the money over. Honestly.
Don't worry about that.
Yeah, it's going to be good, isn't it? Is it middle of October down at the Roundhouse? So we're going for.
Things are sorted out. I mean, the only worrying thing is at the moment you're still getting all right, fairly big festivals cancelling. There was another one cancelled today, wasn't there? Boomtown or something down in Hampshire. So it's not cut and dried yet, is it really? But
No.
we've got to keep fingers crossed that things like Bloodstock and Steelhouse and Stone Dead happen. Because if they happen, then there's more chance of the indoor gigs later in the year happening. It's either that, or it's going to be if you're like me and have Aussie tickets from bloody what was it 3 years ago now.
I still have mine.
Yeah, it might be the first gig we actually get to go to in 2022 at this rate.
No. Still got that Aussie gig. It's going to be Aussie with Zach Wild playing the guitar, and he has Judas Priest as a support act. So that's a gig you just can't miss.
No, definitely.
If it ever
The
happens.
only annoying thing about it is it's holding Judas Priest back from touring on their own, because obviously they've signed on for that, and they've missed their anniversaries as well.
Yeah, unfortunately, pandemic, everyone's missing everything at the moment.
Yeah.
I think it just, do you know what? So I was going to be seeing Wasp last year as well. And then, like, literally, I found out that apparently they're just not going to be touring now. I look at that and I just think, well, it's not their fault, but COVID is just such a bastard. And I think everyone feels, as strongly as that, because it's not only, stopped and you know, prevented our experience of live music. You know, you think about the band's mentalities as well and their mental health and how it must be affecting them, and it's just pissing on everyone's chips, and I think everyone's sick of it now. I think I might actually just like rent my own field and, you know, have like a, I don't know, if I can't go to anything, just have like my own socially distanced, like, I don't know, like rave or something. I might just get like, even if it's off like a crappy radio, I might just get everyone to, you know, come together and have like this massive, essentially illegal gathering. I'm not condoning that anyone does that, but I'm just saying that's how I feel. That's my disclaimer.
There's a band last summer, I can't remember the name of the band now, but somewhere in the States, they did a gig, but for a social distancing, they had everybody these big, huge plastic bubbles, every member of the crowd. And I was thinking, like, if you did that for a metal gig, what would the mosh pits be like? Like a game of snooker, a pool with balls bouncing all over the place.
However, it's one way of stopping people pissing in bottles and chucking them about. So if people want to piss in their bubbles and like essentially get saturated in their own urine instead, they're welcome to do that, because then it's self-contained.
And we thank
they also had gigs in, like Doro did a couple of gigs last year, didn't she, in Germany, as a drive-through gig. So
I saw that.
Yeah.
And Metallica did the same thing as well.
That mosh pit could have got really dangerous, couldn't it?
Moshing by crashing their cars into each other.
Derby.
That's quite novel though. Like, I do think you could actually do something like that. What's like, is it banger racing? You know, like if you just got literally proper clapped out shit cars and then just had like proper loud music, you could, you know, you could do that. That would be epic. I mean, I don't know how safe it'd be, but does anyone care at the moment?
I think under Leanne's little thing, we need a little disclaimer going along the bottom saying these are Leanne's ideas, not the ideas of
they
Metal
don't represent Metal Temple.
Leanne's is mad in the box of frogs. Don't do anything she says.
No, I don't care anymore. I just think, you know, like life's too short, sod it. You know, everyone should just have fun. I mean, you know, why be boring? You know, you've got to grab life by the balls and, I don't know, just live for each day.
Being the boring old bastard in the corner, I mean, I you know, I think we are getting to that point now where you've got to get back to life. And although, you know, there's inherently going to be risks out there for God knows how long now, but I think you've got to live with them. You've got to start living with the risks a little bit, and, you know, as you say, grab life by the horns and live it.
Sorry, I didn't mean to cough and interrupt you. I think I genuinely took a risk then. I had a swig of tea and I nearly died. It went down the wrong way.
Oh no.
Never mind.
Dying for your art on a Zoom meeting, that's extreme.
You know what? Like literally, I've always joked when I go, and I say that I've joked about this because I'm actually deadly serious. That is what is so wrong about this. When I die, I want the church to have like a whole filtration system where literal, I don't know, it might be a little bit distasteful. They might not be down with it. Ideally, blood spraying out to rain in blood. If they can't do blood, red paint. Like literally, that's what I want to do. And then I just want everyone, you know, to go there wearing whatever colour they want and get wrecked in the church. I
Walk out look like a scene from Carrie.
Yeah, absolutely, John. Like you nailed it. And then, like just before, because I haven't worked out if I want to be like cremated or whatever yet. But what might be cool is like a halfway house. And again, it's not like strictly sort of conforming to any regulations of anything, I don't think. But if like the coffin could be at the front of the church and then it could just be set on fire before it actually goes to the incinerator. Again, I think, you know, like what a way to go out. But I hope this
sounds like a cross between Carrie and Lords of Chaos. This is anarchic, positively anarchic.
Yeah.
I've always set myself that when I go for the service, what I want is I want Guns N' Roses November Rain played, and everybody has to stand for it. And the reason why is because the song's about 10 minutes long, and nobody likes standing in church, so it's my last fuck you to the world before I go. And then being lowered into the ground, it has to be AC/DC, Highway to Hell.
Yeah.
Just for shits and giggles, like.
And then also, I think just to put people through a little bit of purgatory as well, make them sing hymns. Like, I don't think, but like proper belt it out. Like what's that famous one? Oh God, it's really famous. You can't remember the name of it.
No, if I sang, I'll probably burst into flames.
Yeah. But how amazing would that be? Like, it would just be so cool. Get everyone to belt out Jerusalem, and then like they'll be set on fire.
No Christian.
Why not? How did we get to talking about death anyway?
So there was the last gig, but when we said last gig, we didn't really mean last.
I think Leanne had a premonition of the end of the world and has just told us that by a weird little story.
It just went off on a tangent there a little bit.
This is what happens, you know, literally. Do you know what? I've missed this sort of thing, because when I go to the pub, or when I did do, like, the most random things would happen and the most random chats with people, and it was just so nice, you know, just to be able to, what I affectionately have termed, you know, shit chat, you know, just to be able to do that. I think people are kind of missing the art of conversation, actually. And as nice as this is, you know, to do this on a video, like, at the same time, it's really not the same, you know, having someone physically in front of you, you know. And I don't know, like, when you've had a few too many, you know, just kind of punching someone. I sort of miss that. Like, I don't like social distancing, you know, it sucks.
Usually when we go out, we go to Fibber McGee's Rock Bar in Dublin, and that's the place to go to for the metal music in Dublin, really. But every first Friday of the month, or second Friday of the month, it's not that long, can't remember now, they always do it's heavy metal karaoke, which is the most amazing laugh ever.
Oh my God.
Yeah, we go to that all the time, and the crowd are amazing as well. Like, if you're shit, nobody boos it, they sing along with you, and they'll mosh with you as well. Like,
right.
Well, I have an amazing story about that as well. It was back in November 2019. I went to see Machine Head, because they had the anniversary for the Burn My Eyes album. So they basically, it's just Machine Head, 3-hour set, absolutely fucking mental. So I went to that. After finished, it was a friend of ours, her birthday was in there, and there happened to be karaoke night as well. So we went there after the gig. And me, after a few drinks, still buzzing from the gig, it's like, right, I'm going up, I'm singing the Machine Head song, fuck you all. So I get up, I'm singing David Ian. You can't really see too much on the stage because it's light shining in your face. So I hop off the stage, go back to my girlfriend, and then about 2 minutes later, the host of the night, Paul, his name is, he runs up to me and grabs and goes, John, like, what? You never fucking believe who was watching you sing that song. Like, who? Rob fucking Flynn was there watching you sing a Machine Head song. I'm like, fuck off. I thought he was taking the piss. So he brings me around, and Rob Flynn and the rest of Machine Head are all there, necking pints. And I'm like, oh, fuck. So I went up and I started talking to Machine Head, and the first thing I said to Rob Flynn is like, I'm sorry for butchering your song, I'm so sorry.
What's
I ended up having a lock-in with Machine Head that night as well. It was epic.
Wow.
Apparently, every time Machine Head come to Dublin, they always go there after the show. And I didn't know this last time they went there. They brought all the gear from the gig to that pub, set it all up and done another mini set in the pub for everybody afterwards.
Wow, that's cool.
There's even pictures on their Facebook from many, many years ago. Rob Flynn's at the bar buying shots with everybody.
Oh my God.
Yeah. That was an epic night, that was. Very sore head in the morning, but... And I do have a picture as well of me and Rob Flynn somewhere, but I'm very, very well gone in it. Yeah. Well, yeah, that was an amazing night. That was just getting pissed with Machine Head.
What was it like? Because for me, I've never met anyone famous at all, and I don't know if I get a bit starstruck. You know, was
Oh,
it
I did.
just really?
I didn't know
was it
what to
like-
fucking say.
Yeah.
I really didn't. No, it was like Ralph Flynn gets a lot of shit online for some of the things he says, and people can call him a dickhead. But from my experience of meeting Machine Head, Ralph Flynn's a lovely man. I have to say, he's a very nice guy, very down to earth as well. He's just there to have points. But the drummer and the bass player from Machine Head, they got up and done karaoke as well.
Were they any good?
Yeah, because the bass player used to sing for a band, so he was good. He sang a White Zombie song.
Oh, cool.
And the drummer sang this hardcore punk song, can't remember what now, but he wasn't very good. But he's just drunk and having fun, so that's the end of the game of the night, so like he was just with it.
See, sadly, in good old rugby, we don't have anywhere like that. Like, there's just nowhere particularly cool. We used to have a very good alternative scene here, and then it's just basically gradually been pissed away over the years. But what we did have was a lovely little pub where you could go and do karaoke. So we'd go in there and I'd be pretty tanked up, and I cannot sing for shit. Literally, my voice is a total wankstrosity. So of all the songs,
I was waiting just to see how long it would be before that word came out.
yeah, Leanne swear word
Who
bingo.
had 45 minutes in the thing, you know?
Yeah,
Every time Leanne says the curse word, everybody watching us has to do a shot.
yeah. And then actually, by the end of this, everyone will be proper fucked up. Should we do that? Like, maybe next time we'll do it every swear word, because like, John, you've done some brilliant F-bombs. Every swear word, everyone has to have a drink, and we'll be totally wrecked by the end of this, and we'll just like be eating our own faces. I think
I'm gonna die.
I'm going to say some of us have to drive to work in the morning. Let's not.
no.
At least next time, let's do it on a Friday night.
Yeah, that's not a bad idea. No, it's not a bad idea. But no, I actually opted to sing Bon Jovi, Living
Nice.
on a Prayer.
Nice. I've done that before at karaoke as well.
Or Def Leppard, Pour Some Sugar on Me. That one, and
Nice.
that came complete with like mum slut dancing, where I could feel my bad knee like literally caving under the weight of my ass, and I'm, you know, and just straining like these really dreadful vocals, you know, but trying to exude as much sex as like, I don't know, like any glam band going, and it was just utter shite. Like,
Oh wow!
I think I ended up looking like I was trying to almost give fellatio to the microphone, but not in a good way. Like,
whilst laying cable.
Right, no,
the most hideous thing was someone actually recorded it. Like, why would you even do that to someone? It's just not right. So actually, yeah, the pandemic, that's been good for me. I've not been able to embarrass myself.
There's video footage from that metal karaoke of me. It was my 30th birthday a few years ago, and I'm singing Enter Sandman. And it also is my 30th birthday, so everyone's getting me shots and pints and just get them into it. And I was very gone. There's footage of it somewhere. I'll find there's no time for everybody to watch. But it's horrendous.
Next time we just do like metal karaoke.
I've just decided that there is definitely an advantage to being the old bastard in the group, because all of the shit like that we used to do when we were kids, no such thing as a camera, you know, or video.
No evidence, no recorded evidence whatsoever. Yeah.
No.
At all. None at all.
Okay, can you just tell us what the most ridiculous thing is that you've ever done then, Neil?
Can't really remember because I was probably that far gone.
I just think I remember doing that again. That was crazy.
There's no photographic evidence of the time we went to a party and I went dressed as King Diamond. I mean, there's no evidence.
Nice.
It's
There's one Halloween I dressed up as Axl Rose.
Oh God.
Yeah, I dyed my hair ginger and turned up to the party late because it's Axl Rose, you have to be late.
With or without cornrows?
Oh, without the cornrows, that took too much effort.
Nobody got time
Oh,
for that.
what was he thinking with the cornrows that era? I remember that.
He's some boy. He's some boy.
To be fair, I've seen Guns N' Roses twice. The last time I seen them was the reunion when Slash and Duff came back into the band, and Axl was actually behaving. He was on stage on time, and he played one hell of a set. They were brilliant. Axl sounded great. The whole band were great.
I think that time that he had in AC/DC when he replaced Brian Johnson helped his discipline big time.
And to be fair, his voice actually suited AC/DC's music.
Yeah, absolutely.
I mean, you heard the first Axl Rose singing for AC/DC, and you're like, what? And then you see the footage, like, oh, it's actually good. It actually suits the music.
I watched a video of them doing, what was it, Whole Lot of Rosie, and I was like, oh my God, this actually worked really, really well.
Because I know
Axl Rose was singing a Whole Lot of Rosie.
He's played it with Guns N' Roses as well.
Wow. Okay. I need to check that out.
Brian Johnson for the tour.
Yeah, because Brian Johnson had a hearing issue and he couldn't play anymore because it was going to damage his hearing and he'd go deaf, so he had to bow out. But so Axl took over, and he's actually surprisingly very good.
Cool.
Yeah, I didn't go to that school, I must admit, but a weird combination like that, but
it worked. Surprisingly, it worked. Because that time when I saw Guns N' Roses on the reunion, they played legendary venue in Dublin, Slane Castle. Not sure if anybody knows it. It's a very sometimes they do one gig a year, sometimes two, but they only ever get the best acts for it. That's how the procedure is. And the guy who owns the castle and the grounds, he picks the band, and he's a rock and roll fan. Yeah. So, like the very first Slane Castle, it was Tin Lizzy headlining.
Oh.
So there's a bit of trivia for you there. And so I went to see Guns N' Roses. Since Guns N' Roses announced their reunion, he wanted Guns N' Roses back because they played that same venue in 1992. And it was a legendary gig in Ireland, apparently. So he wanted them back. So we all got our tickets. We all went there. And it was shortly after Chris Cornell sadly passed away. And they did a tribute to him during their set where Guns N' Roses played Black Hole Sun.
Oh, wow.
And it was absolutely brilliant.
It's the kind of stuff you couldn't make that up, could you?
Yeah, it was an amazing show. But the crowd were amazing as well because we were right at the barrier. And if you needed to go for a piss, you went off and you came back and everyone held their spot for you there. And because we're at the barrier, there's a little kind of step there for the security step on. And security were letting us rest our pints on that. So when you ever get pints, you can rest your pints on that. And security were grand with it. Like,
did anyone accidentally take a piss in their pint?
I'm sure they did. I'm sure they did.
Oh no, I was just mildly concerned about like the sort of health and safety implications and like mixing of substances. Then I can't say I'd ever want to drink a pint of my own piss. So yeah, high five to anyone that has.
I'm
not sure it was
piss, but anyway.
I'm not from California.
No. I was lucky enough to actually go to Slane Castle 3 times for gigs. The first time I went there was for Bon Jovi. They did a 3-hour set. That was amazing. And then the second time I went there was Guns N' Roses. The last time I was there was Metallica, and they had Ghost supporting them.
Ooh,
and it was Ghost's first time in Ireland as well. So like a lot of people were there just to see Ghost because it's their first time in Ireland. But to me, I just want to see Metallica because I'm a Metallica fanboy. Really am. Yeah. But we had this great spot near the front and we couldn't lose it. And after drinking a lot of pints, dying for a piss. So I had an empty cup and I was like, you know what? Fuck it.
What did you do with it afterwards? You tell me that you didn't throw it.
No, I emptied it on the floor and left it there. I wasn't going to be one of those dickheads.
I mean,
I remember the good old days at Donington when the air was full of bottles of steaming yellow liquid.
There's a story I heard. There was for the Download Festival in Dunton. One of the years, this rapper Lethal Bizzle was booked to play Download, and someone was telling an interview like, you know what you're getting yourself in for. We're doing this kind of a festival. Like, oh, it's just could be a regular gig. Like, no. If the crowd don't like you, they'll piss into a bottle or a cup and they'll throw it at you. And he had this look of horror on his face when they told him that. And he said, fair play to him, he showed up and did the gig still.
I remember going to Reading. Oh God, I can't remember what year it was now, but it wasn't a good one, and it was, you know, back in the day. And Bonnie Tyler was on in the afternoon.
Nice.
On a Sunday afternoon, and somebody, you know, a bottle basically landed on the stage at her feet, and I honestly, she puts the swearing from Leanne to shame. I mean, she
wow.
Wow.
Who threw this effing bottle at me? Another one comes on this effing stage. We're gonna F off, and you can all fuck off, the lot of you.
Surprised she didn't jump into the crowd looking for a scrap.
I think she wasn't far off doing that, and everybody in the crowd went, "Okay, yeah, we're going to behave." Scary West lady. And yeah, she got the crowd on side just by I think standing there and swearing very loudly at them.
It reminds me of a couple of stories actually. There was I went to see what was it? It was Public Image Limited. This
nice.
is about 10 years ago, and it was kind of a weird show. And Johnny delivered a similar rebuke to somebody who chucked a bottle or a cup at the stage, but it came more across as a kind of a disgruntled granddad berating a misbehaving youth more than anything else. It's lost a lot of his street cred. And I remember another one. My mate went to see Iron Maiden. This would have been 15 years ago or so. And Trivium supported. That's kind of an odd combination, but
I think I remember that tour actually.
It was weird.
That's Iron Maiden for you, though. There are some weird support bands.
Yeah. So my mate said that, you know, Trivium did their set, and everybody was all, you know, getting crazy mosh pits and stuff. And then Bruce Dickinson walks on again, disgruntled granddad, you know, says, "Well, they were a bunch of wankers, right? You lot in there, stop that, or we're not playing." And everybody just kind of stands in line. Yes, sir, Mr. Dickinson. Have you say, Mr. Dickinson?
If Bruce tells you how to behave, you fucking behave.
I find it interesting. Sorry, Neil, go on.
No, I was going to say, I just remembered the falling over story as well. Actually, we went on the last tour, Maiden tour. We saw them up in Manchester. Lucky enough to get backstage at Birmingham, and then we saw them again at the O2. But the night in Manchester was his 60th birthday, and they'd obviously been partaking of a few troopers before they came out on stage. So I think it was, I think it might have even been during Aces High, the opening song of the evening, that he fell arse over tit and landed with his legs kicking up in the air, and everybody gave a rousing cheer. And of course, he then had to you know, after the song had finished, say, "Well, thank you very much for cheering loudly at that one, you bastard."
Look, you saying about bands and the influence. The most obscure but kind of strangely wonderful band that I've seen, quite old school, sort of almost psychedelic kind of, I don't know what you'd coin them, very sort of political kind of rock band, I suppose, called the Edgar Broughton Band. And they are weird as fuck, but they're quite cool. But you know, they're knocking on now. I think they must be probably in the 70s, and they were playing in Stratford upon Avon. And I remember I'd gone with my stepdad, and literally we were the only sort of two Brits that were in this room, and it was full of Germans who were all essentially just fucking stoned, right? And at the same time, the band were all stoned as well. Like, and it was just like literally, I remember standing by the bar and I'm, watching these guys, and they played so well. I mean, they were absolutely off their bins. And you got all these German fans that were, kind of almost trying to shout in appreciation, obviously in German. But because they were so mullered, it just kind of came out like a meh. And it was glorious. It was gloriously fucked up. And then afterwards they went, like to this like little kind of, I don't know, sort of dank back room, and they just skinned up again. And I remember, because my stepdad at the time, he was a copper, and I just remember that it was like, I don't know if I should be associated with this place. I was like,
Probably not.
no, but it was brilliant. Genuinely, I think one of their albums is Evening Over Rooftop. And it's, if you were, say, into, like stoner music, like, or doom, I think you'd probably quite enjoy it. It's really, it's intense as fuck. But they're brilliant.
You'd probably say it was a very early proto stoner type music, definitely.
Yeah, do you know what? Potentially, and in a way, I suppose that give them a listen, because actually, when I think about it now, there are so many different kind of nuances in terms of the genres that they pull from as well. Because even the thematic was quite sort of punky, just without the punk sound. It was very politically driven. And it was probably, like you say, Neil, one of the earlier examples, of, like that kind of doom sound, probably, pulling from a punk thematic before punk was really a thing. Like, I think they're great. They're fucking odd, but they're great. I'd implore anyone to give them a bash. I think they're good. But yeah, weirdest gig I've ever been to, for sure.
I'm not sure which of those two images is the more bizarre, either the policeman in a cloud of illegality around him, or the large crowd of Germans mooing at this psychedelic band.
Yeah, it has to be said. Really, it was a sight to truly behold. It is an experience that I will never forget. It will stay with me for life, because my stepdad's face was just such a fucking picture. All the way through, basically, 2 hours of watching him gradually shit himself. It was brilliant.
We did Rock and Blues a couple of years ago, and the weather was absolutely horrendous. I mean, it absolutely pissed it down. And there was so Rock and Blues was this place in this venue in Derbyshire, and just up the road there was a pop festival, shall we call it, and it was dance music and this, that, and the other. And they gave up and they called that gig off, but Rock and Blues went on. I mean, trouble with there, it's on top of a hill, and everything was just starting, I think, to slide down the hill, including the marquee that the gig was happening in. But we were sat in there on I think it must have been the Friday evening, and I think it was Wayward Son's third gig or something like that, and I really wanted to see them because I really liked Toby from back in the Little Angels days and what have you. And there was this biker geezer just sitting there next to it and chain smoking, God's lettuce sort of thing, all in. And we actually didn't stay on site. We drove back to our hotel. Getting the car out the car park was amazing. Thanks to some help with some people. But I was driving back and I said to my missus, if we get pulled over, I am going to get done for being stoned. It was, honestly, you needed a knife to cut through the haze to be able to see what you were doing. They, as I say, so we're getting the car out of this place. I've been pissing down constantly all day, and this hill had turned to quagmire. And we were trying to get the car out, and it wouldn't. I was struggling to get out of the hills. A couple of geezers came and helped push us out. Now, I couldn't see what these guys were like, but the next morning when we were at the hotel, I got out and looked at my car, which was grey, but it looked like I had a camouflaged car. It was green and brown. Honestly, it was just. So these poor guys that pushed us out from behind, were pushing it from behind. They must have gone to bed brown, and they probably set overnight. And there's these guys going like, "Can't move, chat."
With their cast in like a big plaster cast, yeah.
Exactly. So I mean, but that just goes to show really that what rock people are like at gigs like that and festivals. They'll help anybody out, and that's
That
the
was the
one good
nicest
thing.
crowd ever. Like, it's the unspoken rule of the mosh pit. Like, if somebody falls down, you stop and you help them up.
Absolutely.
Exactly.
But like, I've noticed from the newer generations, don't seem to get that. I've noticed that gigs. Like, if they fall, they'll trample on you. I've seen that a few times now.
The funniest thing I remember at I saw Exodus at the Underground in London.
Nice.
Ooh.
Absolutely fantastic gig. I can't remember the support bands were on with them, but there was a couple of fairly decent bands. But there was this couple of guys in the audience, and they were being absolute arseholes. They really were being absolute arseholes. They were making a nuisance of themselves. And at one point, one of them, and it's not the first person who'd done it, there was a couple of guys that climbed on the stage and dived off, but he climbed on the stage to dive off. And honestly, it was like the parting of the Red Sea. The audience went, like that, and he went straight down. His mate came over, picked him up, and they wobbled off into the distance, not to be seen again. That was nearly the funniest thing that night at Exodus. But I think the funniest thing was there was 3 guys, 2 dressed as stormtroopers and 1 dressed as Darth Vader.
Nice.
Moshing the stuff away.
Nice.
Yeah, honestly, I mean, not just shitty costumes. These look like proper replica costumes.
I'm actually jealous.
And they're on the floor in the pit giving it ice. Really are. Well, it's so funny.
They must have been sweating like pigs in those things.
Yeah.
I mean,
it was bad enough that night as it was, but Jesus, yeah, they must have been.
Oh, do you know what you've just reminded me, Andrew, of saying about like sweating? We went to
of course it's Leanne. Of course it is. Talking of sweating. Oh.
No, honestly, like I've got a thing about like bodily fluids. I don't know, sweat. I'm really weird about.
What was the name of this again? Was it Smell the Pit? I can't remember.
Smell the Pit.
Oh no!
That big overweight hairy dude with his top off, just going crazy, and you can always smell him before you can see him. Like,
yeah.
That's enough for me. I said there was no cameras.
It's nasty and unnecessary. But no, we'd gone out one Halloween and we'd all got dressed up, and I went as one year I'd gone as Beetlejuice, which was quite cool. The next year I went as Edward Scissorhands, but I had like these basically these hands that obviously had scissors on, but it meant that every time I was trying to pick up a pint, it was a bit like I had the coordination of Bambi on ice. It was a bit kind of skimpy. So I was sort of like missing picking up, and ended up, like having to pick up my pint between my arms. It was dreadful. But my mate,
well, you earned a pint there anyway.
Honestly, it just wasn't worth having these. I mean, look, I've got stupid hands anyway. Hey,
we're gonna have to introduce you to the concept of the thing called a straw.
I don't know. The thing is, if I had a straw in a pint, I genuinely it'd be gone. So yeah, I don't think that's a good idea. But no, my mate, he decided to wear a Slipknot mask, and this thing, I reckon he got it from like China. It looked quite good, but he did kind of also look like he'd had a stroke. But then what he did genuinely, it was a bit like by the end of the night. But then also when he took the mask off, I have never seen a collection of like pure body sweat in anything ever like that, and it just went boom, which of course it was wild. I've got this aversion to it. I was just like and then it just ruined everything.
Oh,
I
dear.
don't know. I'm not down with masks. I just think they're weird. You know, the whole concept of wearing a mask, it's just not right. It's really not.
Yeah, Slipknot can do a whole set with theirs on.
Hey,
Slipknot can do a whole set with their masks on as well,
yeah.
which can't be easy to do.
No, oh no. Like, it's
But you
almost
say
like
they must take
self-toilet,
them off at
but-
the end of the evening and just literally pull them out, you know?
Or the-
Oh, it's just honestly, I can't deal with it. There's weird things. So I'm funny about sweat, and I'm funny about stickers as well. Like, just fuck stickers, even like stickers on bananas. I don't even want fucking stickers on my fruit. It's just unnecessary. Yeah, and buttons I'm a bit weird with. Apart from that, I'm game for anything really. But yeah, sweat, stickers and buttons, get to fuck.
I didn't realise this was going to be the Leanne therapy group. I thought we were talking about
YouTube show. This is an intervention.
Yeah, we were, but I am in need of some kind of therapy.
and a gig would be the best way to start.
Definitely.
Sometimes the two things go together. I mean, I remember one of the best gigs I went to, actually. It was Hell Yeah, Stone Sour, and Avenged Sevenfold.
Nice.
So I was with a couple of friends. We got there quite late. I usually make a point of turning up like 2 hours in advance because I have to be at the front. First gig
I'm the same. I've been there all day waiting outside.
Exactly. First gig I was at, I was right at the back, and I thought, unless I'm right there at the front, I might as well sit at home and listen to like a compilation CD or something, because this is pointless. So we got there quite late, and when Hell Yeah came on, I was sort of towards the back. Stone Sour came on sort of more towards the middle, and somehow by the time Avenged came on, I was at the barrier. I thought, I don't know how that happened. I don't know how I managed this. Just wiggle your way through a little bit at a time, and eventually you get there. And it was an incredible set. It was while Mike Portnoy was drumming with them, actually.
Nice.
It was very nice. And when the gig finished and people started to sort of disperse a bit, I thought, ooh, I feel a bit strange. What's this weird sensation? And I looked down at my shirt and then peeled my shirt off myself.
Oh.
Oh,
No.
It was horrible. I looked and felt like I jumped in a swimming pool with my clothes on. It was horrible.
No,
Have you ever worn, and this isn't me being weird, have you ever worn like leather or PVC at all?
No.
No, I don't know. I don't know what you want to wear. I've not got a problem with it. I'm just asking.
I mean, look, I suppose being the old biker, I mean, yeah, I used to obviously have you know leather trousers for biking, but I never. Yeah, honestly, that's as far as I'm going to say. Not pants.
Not for everyday recreational usage, no.
I mean, I was just asking because as a woman, when it comes to, obviously wearing these particular things, and going to gigs and, you want to kind of put on your leather and shit, the only thing, and it looks great, but like literally, it comes to a point where you just feel like a German sausage. Because you sort of got like this leather on, and then when you want to go for a wee, no, you do sincerely. Like you just look, and then you kind of end up actually towards the end of the night, especially if you've been for a wee, and then you try and pull them up. You look like a German sausage where it's starting to come out the casing as well. Like, and it's just, it's cool.
Visions of that episode of Friends where Ross gets a
the talcum powder, yeah.
Yeah, but no, it's the commitment and dedication that goes into dressing in an expressive way. It's not easy wearing leather and that sort of thing. It
doesn't get the appreciation it deserves.
No, it doesn't, and it's an absolute bitch when you want a piss. So anytime you guys go to any gigs and you see a chick in leather, can you just take a moment to think, I'm so proud of you for wearing that, and I empathise and feel sorry for you when you need a slash, like, because it is horrendous.
Well, yeah, I mean, obviously, as I say, so being the bike, I've never had the all-in-one stuff, but I always remember stopping at services somewhere, desperate for a wee, and I remember this biker bloke come legging it in, obviously again because he's desperate for, and he's undoing all the and trying to get his arms out the sleeves and all that, and then went, oh sorry, zipping back, walking out as you say, like John Wayne.
Oh no.
I think the worst experience I had when it comes to trying to take a wee at a gig was that Slayer farewell tour. Obviously drinking a fair bit that day and needed to go. So I went, there's always a big long queue for the lads. So I'm waiting in the queue, it's nearly my turn to go inside. And then that's when Slayer start to play Seasons in the Abyss, which is one of my favourites. So obviously I can't go back out for the song, I need to go, I'm going to piss myself. So I had to go in, do me piss, and I missed the entire song, and I was pissed off.
No.
Yeah. It's like, I'm going to cry now.
Was the piss even worth it?
Yeah, I suppose. It's better than the 12 on me, so.
True.
Outdoor gigs, when you, for geezers, they have those sort of like those plastic bell things that are, you know, like about 4 or 5 urinals around.
Yeah, we had them too.
And they never get emptied. They never get emptied. And I remember, I think it must have been Steelhouse 2 years ago. So you went in for a Waz, and sort of I don't think it was better, but I remember there was one geezer. He was peeing in one side, and this thing was full. And I think it must have had a very tiny little hole in it. And this guy sort of peeing in one side, and this other bloke wobbles up to have a pee the other side. And then the plastic urinal thing starts peeing on this bloke.
Oh, no.
He's got, oh. That must be disgusting. Absolutely disgusting.
Fucking hell.
That's grim. That's really grim.
That is grim. That was totally grim. Everything starts using just the sort of tenty bit that's round the the fence round. It's got to be better. Not good. Again, so we started off talking about gigs, got on to death and funerals,
and
back
piss.
to gigs for a minute, something like gigs again, and now we're on to bodily fluids. This is
actually. Do you know what we've not covered? We've not spoken about shit. And I don't think it's something that we should even.
No, we're going to.
No, I think we're drawing a line somewhere.
Yeah, no, let's not do that one.
No, there's other places on the internet for that, but it's not here.
So he says, trying to bring it back around to being serious for a second.
Sorry.
Leanne said, obviously, we've got Power Wolf booked for October, November, whenever it is. I'm supposed to be working at. I've got tickets to Steelhouse, which I'm miffed that Anthrax have pulled out of, unfortunately.
Oh.
Anthrax are great live.
Oh, they're brilliant live. I mean,
Yeah.
I saw them at Donington when they Monsters of Rock when they came over. In that 85 was it? I think Bon Jovi headlining, Dio, Metallica, Anthrax, Wasp.
Holy crap!
Fucking hell.
Yeah, it was good. It was a good build that. Cinderella. There's somebody else on as well. And then we saw them. Saw them in Oxford on the Among the Living tour as well. That was brilliant. I've seen them many times. Anthrax are probably pretty much my favourite band, one of my favourite bands, that and Iron Maiden.
When it comes to Anthrax, Joey Belladonna or John Bush?
I think for me it has to be Joey because again, that's as I said, my first Anthrax album was my first Anthrax album was Among the Living, but so I'm of that era. John Bush is good though. The stuff they did with him is very good.
Introduced me to Anthrax anyway.
So again,
The John Bush era is what introduced me to Anthrax. I think it was on the radio one day, the song Only, and I just love that tune because his voice is incredible.
yeah. Well, it's the same. It's the same when people say, you know, who's your favourite Black Sabbath singer or who's your favourite Iron Maiden singer. It depends really. I think half the time who was the first one that you heard.
Yeah. I think one of the things about Black Sabbath is everyone's always goes, "Who do you prefer, Ozzy or Dio? Ozzy or Dio?" And I'm like, "What about Tony Martin?"
Yeah, no, I'm the same.
Because Headless Cross was a fucking incredible album.
Yeah, Headless Cross is brilliant. I saw
Love
them.
that album.
I saw them on that tour and the following tour, the TYR tour.
And since they're going to Powerwolf, you should look it up. Powerwolf actually do a cover of the Headless Cross song if you want to check that out.
Yeah, they do.
Yeah, which is very good.
Yeah. And I was supposed to be seeing Kingdom of Madness, who basically do old Magnum songs, because it's Mark Stanway's band.
Yeah.
Keyboard player for Magnum for God knows how long. And we were supposed to see him again last year. And Tony Martin was going to be the singer.
Fucking hell.
Yeah. So it's quite a good little ensemble we put together. It's sort of, you know, a couple of guys that were in Magnum. His missus, singer called Mo Birch, who's mainly known as a backing singer, but she has got the most incredible voice. And she sings some of the Magnum songs, and she sings them probably better than you know, Bob does. And one of the old drummers, and he's had who was the guitarist? Anyway, it's an absolutely brilliant band. They're worth seeing, and I really wanted to see them with Tony Martin. But
yeah, because when Tony Martin did Black Sabbath, he used to sing the Ozzy songs and he was singing the Dio songs because he was able to do both and pull it off. Like, that's how good he was.
Yeah, no, he was an all-round singer. I mean, I love Ozzy to bits, and you know,
Ozzy's the king.
I went to the final gig in Birmingham.
Nice.
Which was brilliant.
I was there for the final gig they did in Dublin, and I remember because I got to the venue, I had my ticket, went by myself because the tickets were that fucking expensive. Wasn't bringing anybody with me. I got into the venue and the merch stand was right beside the bar. So like, you know, fuck this, I want a t-shirt. So I got my t-shirt at the merch stand, still have it as well, by the way. And I went straight to the bar, bought 5 pints, and there wasn't many people in at the time, so there's practically nobody at the front bar. So I run to the front bar with me 5 pints. It's like, right, I'm staying here, I'm not fucking moving anywhere. That was it. So Black Sabbath farewell tour, me just standing there with 5 pints in your hand, I'm not going anywhere. That was it. Brilliant.
Controversially, I thought the 13, the tour before, had a better set.
They didn't come to Ireland for that, so I didn't get to go for that one. But I'd love the 13 album, and on their farewell tour, they played nothing of it, which was very sad. I thought. I'd love to hear songs like that.
But the set seemed to be slightly more rounded. I think they tried to get. They obviously on the end they played all the big hits, but they tried to get some very deep cuts in there, didn't they? On the
yeah, because I remember After Forever was played from them, and Rat Salad as well was played.
No, there was some really deep stuff, but they're a great live band. I mean, the only singer I didn't get to see them was Dio. I mean, I've seen Dio. I saw Dio 3 or 4 times back in the day. But never with Black Sabbath, which was annoying, and I never got to see Heaven and Hell either. Which
no, there's a lad I went to college with. He went to somewhere in Eastern Europe to some festival, and the reason why he went because the festival had headlining the big 4 of thrash, which was Metallica, Slayer, Megadeth, Anthrax, and on on one day, and then the next day they had Heaven and Hell, which was basically Black Sabbath with Dio. I was like, how the fuck did you get to go to that?
But
Those
one of
moments
my
in the
again, one of my 2019 gigs, and one of my favourite ones was Deadland Ritual
Yeah.
in London, the smallest O2 venue in Islington, tiny little place. Again, I got right down again. I got down the front for that one, which was great. And you know, I stood. My hero, being a frustrated and can't play bass player, but I love watching the bass players. So being able to stand, you know, like, I don't know, 10 foot away from Geezer Butler and actually properly watching rather than watching him on a screen was absolutely.
You just don't believe it, because when I saw Sabbath, well, I was actually starting right in front of Geezer as well.
Yeah. Always trying to make sure I'm on that left hand side of the stage.
He had this suit jacket on that was covered in rhinestones, it was just sparkling everywhere.
Yeah.
And like just before they played NIB, he did this monster of a fucking bass solo, just go fucking crazy on the thing, like, and then just go like then just went fucking nuts then after that.
Yeah.
But you can watch his finger. I mean, his fingers move so quickly. I mean, you know, all right, watching a thrash bass player, you can probably see that. It's purposeful, you know. You can, but his hands just become a blur. And when you look at it and think, Jesus, all right, on the end tour, you know, you're watching a man in his 60s, you know, late 60s, playing the bass at that speed. It's quite incredible.
I think one of the most impressive things I remember seeing was I read a biography a few years ago about Cliff Burton from Metallica, and in the biography I didn't notice about him was in a fight or something, I think it was, he broke these two fingers on his hand, and he never healed properly, so he couldn't really move them. So when he's playing his bass, he's only using these two fingers here. So he's basically, but he's playing like how technical he was as well. He's actually just using those two fingers and he's playing like that. But he's doing so fast, you can't really notice it. But if you ever look up clips now, you'll see it's only those fingers he's actually using.
Well, keep an eye for that.
And to be played the way he does, it's like, that's fucking unbelievable. And my father actually got to meet Cliff Burton as well.
Incredible.
It was on the Master of Puppets tour in some hotel in Dublin, because they were booking for my aunt's wedding reception. And then also in walks Metallica with Cliff Burton, just walks in the door because they're checking in. And a lad my dad worked with was a big Metallica fan. So obviously no mobile phones existed back in '86. So he runs out to a payphone, was like, get to this fucking hotel now. Like, why? Get this fucking here, just come now. And that was it, like.
No, at least I got to see Metallica with yeah, same Monsters of Rock actually. That was,
Yeah.
so that was pretty cool. But
Actually,
yeah, no.
listening to all of this, I wanted to ask you guys a question, and it's
Ooh.
yeah, like signature Leanne question. So if you could have your own celebrity metal tea party, who would you invite? Right, so you've got to choose someone to cook, someone to have a chat with, someone for entertainment, and then you've got to have someone, oh fuck, what's the fourth one? Right, someone to sing, someone to chat with, someone to cook. Oh fuck it, let's just go for those three. I can't remember the fourth one.
So heavy metal come down.
Yeah, so like literally you can bring anyone back as well. Like, so obviously if there's a legend that is no longer of this earth, they're allowed to come back temporarily to come and drink tea. Like, I'm assuming that you drink tea. I don't know, you might want to drink champagne out of, you know, cups and saucers. Like, you could do that as well. But yeah, who would you, yeah, like wine out of actual, I don't know, like teapots. Fuck it, let's drink wine out of teapots at this metal tea party. Who would you all invite?
See, I knew you were going to ask this, and I should have prepared, but I didn't. So I'm going to think of that now. Well, also you want some of the heroes there, so gotta have Dimebag Darrell there.
Mm-hmm.
Gotta have James Hetfield there.
Yeah.
If you want entertainment and fun conversations, you gotta have Ozzy because everything he says is just hilarious.
Yes. Yeah, definitely.
That's a difficult one actually, because I'd probably go Brian Johnson.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because I don't know if you guys heard, he did a book a couple of years ago about cars, the cars that he'd had, and
He's a
I had it on
crazy
audio book.
metalhead, isn't he?
Yeah, absolutely. But I had it on audio book, and that got me for actually listening to that audio book got me through some dark times, because I was listening to it after I came out of hospital when I broke my leg badly, and it was just quite fun to listen to. And the way he tells a story would be very good. So he'd have to be there for conversation. That's for definite.
Cool.
Cooking. Well, nobody from Cannibal Corpse, obviously.
Well, no, you should have the drummer because he's a vegetarian.
Oh, yeah. They couldn't even have meat though, because he's a bloody vegan. So that's. I suppose you could have Dave Lee Roth, because then he'd at least bring a hot dog and a shake. Fish from Marillion, because he actually, again, he's a good speaker. He tells a really good story.
Yeah. So you'd sit down with him and, you know, kind of chew the fat and.
Yeah, him, Brian Johnson, and yeah, I think it'd have to be Ozzy, wouldn't it? Just for the let Ozzy do the cooking.
And label Gimp. Who would you choose?
So it's cook, chat, and entertain, right?
Yeah.
Okay, so I think for chat, I would want Chuck Schuldiner, because he just seemed like he was a really, really interesting guy. He seemed quite opinionated.
Great answer.
Yeah, he seemed. I mean, from interviews and stuff, he seemed like one of these guys. He was quite unassuming, quite quiet, but yeah, was clearly deep in thought a lot of the time.
Yeah.
So I think So that's for chat. Entertainment. Entertainment and cook. I'm gonna go for a couple of black metal figures here. So entertainment is going to be Mayhem's bassist Necro Butcher, because he just seems like a complete mad lad. He would just entertain with just crazy stories about all the shit that they got up to back in the day. I mean, he seems like a really cool sort of down to earth guy who tells all these mental stories about how he was going to go and kill Euronymous himself. He says it in a totally casual way. It's like
some very crazy stories.
That's it. Yeah, very, very crazy stories. And for cooking, I think I'd want Garl.
Okay, yeah.
he seems quite suave and sophisticated, but also a little bit scary. And he's that just add enough of that spice just to make the other two feel a little bit uncomfortable.
You're quite sadistic in your choices.
What are we eating? Who are we eating?
Who are we eating?
Right, your turn, Leanne.
You asked the question.
Okay. So I don't know if my internet's just gone to fuck as well. Sorry. I would go for entertainment. Would be Wasp. Definitely. I'd go for all of Wasp, but particularly Black and Lawless. And then I would choose Lemmy to have a chat with, because like the dude, he was just so fucking cool. His songwriting skills, all the people that he's written songs for over the years, and just that whole kind of mantra of born to lose, like live to win. Like, why would you not want to talk to someone that's got that view on life? And then to cook, I'd actually go for Ozzy, because I just think he would be so fucked up. Like, dude might feed you bats, like you might get some fucking ants to snort. I don't know. I just think, and then all the way through, you could just imagine, particularly, like as he is now, he'd just be getting so pissed off doing it, which would just make me howl. Like, you just know that there'd be like, pots and pans of shit being cooked around. So yeah, that would be awesome.
You definitely wouldn't want him to bring the soup in though, would you? Because he'd be.
Oh,
there'll be soup everywhere.
Yeah.
You'd be chatting with Lemmy, and from the kitchen you'd be hearing, Leanne, burn soup. Because the smoke alarm's going off, everything's on fire. This is black.
It would
What's that black
just be
stuff?
carnage.
Yeah, burn the terra salata.
It would be gloriously epic.
There's an amazing quote I heard from Lemmy. It was someone asked me in an interview, it was like, the amount of Jack and Cokes and drink you put away, what are the hangovers like? And he goes, what do you mean the hangovers? That means you have to stop drinking. Why the fuck would I do that? And that's just Lemmy right there. Like.
Yeah, it's like a real life Father Jack from Father Ted.
I was like, I remember Lemmy was saying in an interview as well, this doctor said to him, like, the amount of alcohol they're drinking is dehydrating the body. You need to get more water in you. So I started putting ice cubes in his Jack and Cokes instead. Then that was a solution to have water.
Well, it's like when towards the end when he was diagnosed with the diabetes and what have you, and he said, yeah, I've stopped drinking Jack Daniels and Coke because it's too much sugar. Did you stop drinking? Have you? Yeah, well, yeah, I have. Yeah, I'm on vodka and orange juice now. And crazy, but no, you're right. He would definitely have to be there. Definitely.
Oh, I just remembered the fourth one. Sorry to interject. Right, the fourth one, someone to party with. So yeah, who would you want to party with, John?
Ozzy and Lemmy, isn't it?
Well, I already have Dynamite. Yeah, so that's the party. Because
go for Lemmy
like,
again.
because like I know Pantera had a clause, like any band that went on tour with them had to sign a contract saying that they have to be out drinking with Pantera every single night, and that's how they tested if they're good enough to be on tour with them. Because those boys could fucking put it away, like.
Trouble is though nowadays, particularly the age of a lot of the bands, they're more likely to be in bed with your Horlicks rather than in bed with the whore, aren't they these days?
Wow. Such elegant phrasing.
I was just about to say that label again. So eloquent. And so, Andrew, who would you choose to party with?
To party with? Interesting. As a renowned party animal, I think I'd go for somebody certainly nuts like George Fisher, just because he would clear a dance floor immediately. People would look at the size of his neck and go, "Oh shit, I better get out this way."
You look at him like the neck on him.
It's not my imagination, is it? It is getting bigger.
Yeah, it's only part of the body that grows. It's just his neck. It's great if you look at his Instagram accounts, because he's a big fan of those claw machines that get the plush toys. He's a big fan of doing them. So like he does a lot of them where he gets his big huge plush like teddy bears, and he has a huge collection of them. He brings it home, and he does his trips through the Walmarts. And it's like if there's a Lego set on sale, he just fills the toilet with Lego sets and brings them home. And that's how he spends his free time at home.
He's a complete sucker for discount shopping. It's nuts. He's
like buying Lego sets and getting plush toys. That's what he does.
He's living that Pete Mom life.
There's been that meme, hasn't there, of him versus John Schaefer, hasn't there?
Don't think I've seen that one.
Schaefer running and mocking the thing, and they say, I think it says something like, should be less like John Schaefer and more like your man there, and it's him with an armful of teddies.
Now, there's another good one of him. It's like all metal artists are evil, and then there's a picture of him as holding like 5 or 6 big fucking teddy bears. Like, it's a mad cunt.
I watched a good interview with him the other day, and he tells the story of how he met King Diamond. He was at a restaurant somewhere, and he just felt this tap on his shoulder, and King Diamond was standing there. It's like, "You, the dude from Cannibal Corpse," and he goes total like fangirl, like, "Oh my god, it's King Diamond!" This enormous guy. This is like this cognitive dissonance. He's like that. Okay. So don't you like eat babies or something? He's like, no.
Now, there's one I read as well. It was James Hetfield was talking. It's one of the first times they ever gigged over here, and it was the night before their set. They went to see, because Phil Lynott was solo at the time, and they went to see Phil Lynott. And after Phil finished his set, Phil comes off the stage and walks behind the bar and the venue and just starts fucking pouring drinks to everybody. And then Hetfield is standing there like, is he allowed to do that? It's like, Phil's Phil, you don't tell him what to do. Like,
I actually never saw the gig in England, but I heard it. We used to live in Reading at the time, and I think pretty much their last gig in the UK was at Reading Festival. And I sat on the bridge over the Thames at Reading when they only had the single stage, and it was orientated, and the wind was in the right direction. You could hear the sound as clear as a bell. I think I must have been about 13, 14, and I sat on the bridge that night and just listened to Thin Lizzy.
Oh, wow.
No, absolutely incredible. Absolutely incredible.
Magic.
No, because obviously being from Ireland, we have many stories about Thin Lizzy. I know that my dad actually grew up on the same street as Phil Lynott, and was at Phil Lynott's very first gig. It was someone's back garden party, and he said that was even nuts as well because it was Phil Lynott there, and he even got to be at the last Thin Lizzy gig in Ireland, and my dad got to be at that. It was the Thunder and Lightning tour.
Yeah, that's the one. Yeah.
And the big Thin Lizzy backdrop they had, just there used to be some rock and roll bar in Dublin. It's gone now, but they used to have that on the wall behind the bar as well. Like there's that one Thin Lizzy still, because Brian Downey donated it to the bar.
You know where we are?
Right. Thank you everybody for watching. This was Opening the Pits with Metal Temple. In the description below, we'll have links to the Metal Temple website and our social medias. Don't forget to check them out. And we'll be back again soon. Thank you for watching.